Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So we don't have a musical instrument tonight, but Emma Weisenberg is joining me and helping to keep me on track and to keep us on tune. So thank you, Emma. And we're going to continue on page 24 with Yedi Nefesh at the top of the page.
Yedid nefesh avarachama, Yedid nefesh avarachaman, Meshoch avdecha, El retzonecha, Meshoch avdecha, Ya la 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 la, El retzonecha, Yarutz avdecha, Kemo hayam, Yishtachave Elai Lai La 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 Lai 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 Elul Hadarecha, Yarutz avdecha, Kemo hayam, Yishtachave Elai Lai La 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 Lai 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 Elul Hadarecha.
And we continue at the top of page 27, the meaning of Shabbat. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. And we turn now to the Chad Odi, to Welcome Shabbat on page 29.
Lechad odi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shenu tiferet v'mitila. Lechad odi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechad odi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikerev nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavas tefila. Lechad odi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechad odi likrat kala, Lahoret kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kevod alai alai yifnitla. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Bo'i b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'bzola. Tov emunei am segula, bo'i kala, bo'i kala. V'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. V'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'i b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'bzola. Tov emunei am segula, bo'i kala, bo'i kala.
Ellen Cometo, can I ask you to read us responsively at the top of page 34? How can we sing?
How can I sing of day and night when it is God who formed them?
How can I sing of heaven and earth when it is God who decreed them?
How can I sing of mountains and hills when it is God who planted them?
How can I sing of seas and deserts when it is God who created them?
How can I sing of earth and its fullness when it is God who bade them be?
Sing to God who fashioned all and is beautiful. It is to God precious.
Turn to page 36 for the Baruch Hu.
Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, Baruch Hu et Adonai,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'kavod ha'aviv ha'avim,
בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, ומשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גובר אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאו שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים.
Unending, we read responsively, unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel, Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us.
Therefore, eternal God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah, and the mitzvot forever.
Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days.
Your love shall never depart from our hearts. praise the Eternal One, who loves to keep Israel.
We continue on page 40 with the Shema.
Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levacha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושנתם בלבך, ותקראתם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, ושנתם נרות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובגשריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאומים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Be seated. And Shirley Evans, could I ask you to read on page 42, bet.
On 42,
42, yes, at the bottom, bet, yeah.
all this we hold to be true and certain. The Eternal alone is our God. There is none else, and we are Israel, God's people.
Our divine protector delivers us from the hand of human oppressors and saves us from the fists of tyrants.
You perform wonders without number, marvels that surpass our understanding.
You are just toward life and revive us when we stumble.
You did wonders for us in Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh.
You led your people Israel out forever to serve you in freedom.
When your children beheld your power, they praised you and gave you thanks. Freely they accepted your sovereignty. And Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you with great joy.
And we will turn to Mika Mocha on page 44.
Come, O come,
We continue on page 45 of Ashkeleder.
Ashkenazeinu Adonai Eloheinu v'shalom v'hamideinu shamreinu b'chaim v'fros aleinu sukkah shlomecha v'takneinu
Frank Kay, would you read us on page 47 at the top out of the tapestry of our Jewish heritage?
The strength of a piece of cloth is in the threads of which the whole is woven.
The tapestry of our Jewish heritage has threads of many colors, bright red or somber black.
With its colors echoing the events of the time, this tapestry was begun many thousand years ago. Its weaving will continue for many thousand years to come.
The first strands slid with the fingers of Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Their thread was strong, their colors were brilliant.
Pattern grew, the legend increased, and the stories of our heroes and heroes, the deeds, their lives, were woven into a cloth of beauty and lasting strength.
And we'll continue on page 49 with the Chetzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah. Yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchi hirutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei lechol beit Yisrael Bagala Bagala uv'izman kahari v'yimeru amein
Yesh Merabah Mevarach Me'olam Elam Me'omaya Yitbarach
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitroman v'yitnasei v'yithada v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei l'kosha v'revuchu le'al minkal v'brechata v'shirata tushbekata v'nehemata damiran yama
Adonai Sefartatecha V'yadi Teviratecha
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Sarah Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Rivka Elohei Yaakov Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Ve'yonei Hakol Elokei Chasdei Avot Me'amot U'mevi Gula Livnei Me'em Leman Shelo Yah
Selah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim HaKadosh. So we'll continue on page 55. Gimel, where has this week vanished? Responsively, where has this week vanished? It is lost forever. Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished.
Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom?
On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide.
And now Shabbat has come. Can it help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time?
Can it contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of a frantic life, when all days abandon me? Shabbat abide.
Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
We read together on page 57, Be gracious, eternal God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. O may our worship be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to us, in truth. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst among our people in Zion. We praise you, eternal one, who brings your Shekinah to Zion. You turn to 59, Modim.
Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Eloheinu. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Eloheinu. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai.
On page 61, Yehi Ratzon Lefanecha Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Dorotenu. May it be your will, O God, and God of our ancestors, to remove all wars and bloodshed from our world, and rather to draw great and wondrous peace into the world. Nation shall not lift a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
Lo yisor goy el goy cherev, v'lo yilmadu od milchama. Rather, all people will come to know and understand the truth, that we have not come into the world for strife and war, hatred or jealousy, anger or bloodshed. We have come into this world to know you. May you be eternally blessed.
You turn to page 63, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech hador, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech hador, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam.
Say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol bnei Adam. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol bnei Adam. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
So this week's Torah portion is Pinchas, and that spans 5 chapters in the book of Numbers. And as many of you know, the book of Numbers is not a unified flowing story. It's more eclectic in its structure and narrative than the other 4 books. And Robert Alter, who is both a Torah scholar and a Torah translator, describes the book of Numbers as the most miscellaneous, that's his word, of the 5 books of Torah. But he also points out that it includes a series of uniquely fascinating episodes that exhibit distinctive literary features. And Pinchas is no exception. By my count, it addresses at least 7 such episodes that took place shortly before the Jews arrived in the Promised Land. And these include the story of how Pinchas is rewarded for killing the Israelite and the Midianites who cursed God, how Israel fought the war against the Midianites, the taking of a second census that counted adult men who would form part of the tribes, how the land of Israel would be apportioned among the tribes, how the daughters of Zelophehad raised some questions about the laws of property inheritance, the identification of Joshua as Moses' successor, and some details on sacrificial rituals for all festival occasions. So clearly we have more than enough material to keep us going all night, but not to worry. I'm only going to comment on one of the themes, and I will keep it short. And the section of the parasha that I've chosen to talk about tonight deals with the issues raised by the daughters of Zelophehad. And I selected this theme as it represents an important appeal for justice. So I'll start off by telling you about who the daughters were, their issues, and their response from God, and then we can consider what some of the learnings might be. Zelophehad, who was part of the clan of the Manasseh, had died in the wilderness. He was survived by his 5 daughters, and their names, does anyone know their names? Oh, they're lovely names. Their names were Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah. And the daughters realized that because there was no surviving son, their father's land would not remain in the family. So they decided to plead their case to Moses, the priest Elijah, and the community. And they presented a very clear and compelling case in which they made 5 key points. 1, their father died in the wilderness. 2, he didn't die because he was part of Korah's rebel faction that banded against the law. 3, he died without leaving any sons. And then his name should not be lost to the clan just because he had no boys. And finally, 5, therefore, give the daughters a holding among their father's kinsmen. So I'm going to read the issue again, but how it was framed directly in Robert Alter's translation of Torah. And I'm doing this so you can hear for yourself the cadence and those distinctive literary features that are referenced in Alter's commentary on the book of Numbers. And the daughters stood before Moses, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the chieftains and all the community at the entrance of the tent of meeting, saying, Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not part of a community that banded together against the Lord with the community of Korah. For though his own offense he died, and he had no sons. Why should our father's name be withdrawn from the midst of his clan because he had no son? Give us a holding in the midst of our father's brothers. And Moses brought forward their case before the Lord, and the Lord said to Moses, saying, rightly do the daughters of Zelophehad speak. You shall surely give them a secure holding in the midst of their father's brothers, and you shall pass on their father's estate to them. So that was in itself an important victory for the daughters. But the Lord went further by making it clear that these principles of inheritance should be extended to other situations of possible ambiguity. And I quote again from Robert Alter, and to the Israelites who shall speak, saying, should a man die without having a son, you shall pass on his estate to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, you shall give his estate to his brother. And if he has no brothers, you shall give his estate to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, you shall give his estate to the closest kin from his clan, and he shall take possession of it. And this shall be the statute of the law for the Israelites, as the Lord has charged Moses. So what have we learned from this? The appeal by the daughters was not presented as an abstract legal precedent. It was an impassioned and well-argued appeal for justice. Why should our father's name be withdrawn? Let not our father's name be lost to his clan, just because he has no son. And the 5 daughters were very clear and courageous in the way they framed their arguments. And they were willing and bold enough to present them in front of the community and to the leadership. And they lobbied for a clear and equitable understanding of the prevailing laws of property inheritance. And while the law was clear to God, it was not necessarily understood by Moses. So it begs the question, why did Moses not understand the law? Or perhaps did he reach out to God as an ally in communicating a principle that seemed to defy current practice? We don't know that. But God speaks and spoke with moral clarity that seemed to elude Moses, and he demonstrated how the principle should be extended to other situations. By speaking so forcefully, God makes it clear that this is not a singular case, but a standard by which to judge future acts of inequality. And the goal of creating a world of equal justice nevertheless takes work, and it takes constant vigilance, as demonstrated by the 5 daughters. And when we lose faith, it's helpful to remember God's statement to Moses here, the desire that a God of justice wants us to be partners in creating a world of justice. So for God, there was no hesitation in the face of discrimination, nor should there be for us. The plea of Zelophehad's daughters was just, and justice prevailed. So it's a good reminder to all of us on the importance of continuing to speak up for justice and for human rights. And before I end, does anyone have a question or a comment that they would like to share? Shabbat Shalom. So we turn now to the Mishaberach on page 133. And as we turn to it, we think about members of our community in need of healing: Shirley Herman, Esther Buchenbach, Rick Valentine, Marlene Friedman, Jack Kudlat, Suzanne Sher Stimson, Bernie McLennan, Harriet Lerman, Jill Rich, Mr. Nicola Peretti, Eliyahu Ben Yitzchak Vasara, Rebecca Bodgill, Parker Giacco, Philip Shepard, Carl Katz, Nicole Hansen, Raina Rowan, Ghislaine Neruzzi, Madeline Kitson, Kathy Kitson, Dee Hickey, Lorraine DaCosta, Adela Zur, Elofsky, Anne Steinbeck, Evelyn Tyndall, Amanda Schenk, Daniel Black, Jean Elizabeth Pitt, Fran Kokese, Shmuel Ben Devora, Pauline Portnoy, Patty Bryce, and Olivia Bedard.
and let us say, Amen. Misheberak imotenu, Mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And we turn to page 135 for the prayer for the state of Israel, and they will lead us.
Sur Yisrael v'goelo, Barechna et Medinat Yisrael, Hakshama Tikvatenu. Please rise. Rock and Redeemer of Israel, place your blessing upon the state of Israel, the realization of our hope for a Jewish homeland. Send your light and your truth to all its inhabitants. Spread over them the shelter of your peace. Bestow insight upon its leaders, judges, and representatives, that they may pursue justice, freedom, and integrity. Visit blessing upon all your people Israel, wherever we dwell. Plant the love of Zion into our hearts, that our footsteps may race to walk upon its soil. And may the vision of your prophet Isaiah soon be fulfilled. For Torah shall come forth from Zion, and God's word from Jerusalem. And let us say, Amen.
We turn now to the Aleinu on page 149.
Amen.
We turn to page 155. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. God is our support in the struggles of life and our hope in death. In God's care, the souls of all the living and the spirits of flesh, God gives us strength and comforts us.
O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts. Fill us with trust in you, and turn us again to the tasks of life.
And may the memory of our loved ones inspire us to continue their work for the coming of the Messianic age. And we turn to the Kaddish on page 159, and we remember two friends in Shoshlim, Ellen Becker, dear friend of Marlene Tash, and Michael Gravel, brother-in-law of Amy Alban and uncle of Avery. And we have yacht sites for Friday, July the 22nd, and Saturday the 23rd. For Esther Berkowitz, mother-in-law of Anne-Marie, grandmother of Alexander and David, John Black, grandfather of Rabbi Lawrence and Cheryl Englander, and Stuart and Sandy Englander, Ronald Bowden, father of Chris and grandfather of Natan, Esther Saliklik, aunt of Carol Fontaine, Jacob Goldberg, father of Eva Treadway and grandfather of Jessica, Daniel, and Hannah, Sam Weissenbluth, grandfather of Emma, Muriel Kaplan, cousin of Marilyn Block, Harry Pitch, uncle of Shirley Herman, Henry Pitch, uncle of Shirley Herman, Bella Aftani, mother-in-law of Judith Corrett Simon, Shirley Yudkovich, mother of Pamela, and Abraham Francis, father of Shirley Evans, grandfather of Paul Evans, Susan Wilson, and Lisa Smith. Please stand if you're observing your site from this list. And if anyone else is observing your site this week, we'd like to state your relative's name. Please stand and say their names as I look in your direction. And please join us in community as we turn to the Kaddish on page 159. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrei yotei yamleif malchutei, v'chai echon v'yomechon, V'chayei l'kol Beit Yisrael, ba'alam b'zman kariv v'yimur amen. Yehi shmei rabban v'rak le'olam yomei amarya. Yitbarak v'yitbalach v'yitba'ar v'yitbaram v'yitnaser. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalam shmei b'rishah v'refimu. Ve'elam mikol echata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechanata. Da'nam yomam v'yimur amen. Yehi Shemaya Shemaya, V'chayim Arim V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yimur amen. V'sei Shalom V'yimurav, V'yasei Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yal Kol B'nei Adam, V'yimur amen. And it's now my pleasure to call on Emma to represent the board for some announcements. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to do a special thank you to Joel for the lovely service and to our new shamus in training, Alan, and also to our sponsor for tonight's Oneg, John and family, in honor of their recent yort sites. We've got a couple of announcements coming up. Do remember that there is no Saturday services until August, so our next service will be next Friday at 8 p.m. And if you haven't already done so, please check your emails. The pledge forms for financial commitments have been emailed out. And if you can't find it, please do contact Carol at the office. She'll be able to sort that out for you. I'd also like to remind you that Thursday lunches with the rabbi will begin again on August 4th at noon. And we are still continuing to collect donations for Ukraine. So if you'd like to contribute to that, that's still going. You can contact Carol at the office to do that, or there's some information on the shamus if you'd like to do it through a couple of websites there. And that's it for now. Summer's nice
Great.
and calm.
Thank you, Emma. And now it's my pleasure to call on Joel Brown to lead us in Kaddish.
Rise. Vayer Vayivoker Yom Hashishi. Now the whole universe, sky, earth, and all their array was completed. With the seventh day, God had ended the work of creation and rested with all work completed. Then God blessed the seventh day and called it holy, for with this day God had completed the work of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei
join us for the onig. We've got the food laid out here, and I'm going to suggest if you'd like to take your mask off, you can just take some food out into the circle and chat and wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And thank you, Ella.